The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, Iranians and Russians seen to be illegally entering the United States through the Bahamas. Tonight, Bahamian officials across the board ask, where is the proof? Meanwhile, does the United States Congresswoman who reportedly made the assertion owe the Bahamas an apology? Also tonight, as tensions heighten in the Middle East, two Bahamians find themselves in the middle of it all. They're students in Qatar. At this hour, the PLP gearing steam as the party prepares for the general election. Tonight, the Eastern Link is in full swing. We talk about it. This after a surprise hopeful makes a first official appearance in MyCal, hoping to get a PLP nomination. And speaking of nomination, the Free National Movement South and Central Eleuthera nomination process under the spotlight tonight, as one of the frontrunners says a voting process over the weekend was flawed. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is seeking urgent clarification from the United States following reports circulating on social media made by Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna that a group of Iranians and Russians were interdicted by the U.S. Coast Guard after allegedly entering from the Bahamas. In a statement issued today, the ministry confirmed that no security agency in the Bahamas is aware of any such incident. Well, now, just under an hour ago, the U.S. Coast Guard issued a statement on the matter. The statement reads, "The U.S. Coast Guard, District 7, takes safety and security of all people in the maritime domain very seriously. While there has been no interdictions of foreign nationals attempting to enter Florida from the Bahamas in the past 30 days, we remain vigilant and committed to protecting lives at sea and securing our borders. Through ongoing operations, the service will detect, deter, and interdict illegal aliens, drug smugglers, and other individuals intent on terrorism or hostile activity before they reach our border." That again is from the U.S. Coast Guard, issued a short while ago, just under an hour ago, in response to the U.S. Congresswoman assertions. Can you imagine that? I mean, at a time like this when tensions are high everywhere in the world, and rightly so, someone is going to go casually and just put out there that these people entered the United States from the Bahamas, coming from the Bahamas. Well, we're going to jump in right there this evening. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines contributors, Ellington Ferguson and Garth Roseborough. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here on this cool night. What a hot day it was, Shanique, but I'm glad to be in the coolness of the night.
Yeah, I hope you all paid attention to that Ministry of Health, Department of Meteorology alert about the heat index warning, but we'll get to that hopefully. And then, of course, later in the week, we hope to have a meteorologist here as well to speak on that and the hurricane season. But let's go into this, gentlemen. This is very serious. This big things now. You know, this right here, talk about hot. For a U.S. Congresswoman to have put that out there and just rested casually, how irresponsible is that?
It is absolutely irresponsible and reckless. This speaks to how easily it is for ignorance to enter into leadership, whether it's in Congress or in the White House or here in our own parliament. And that's why we as voters, we've got to really look at people and away from looking at the whole as a party. Look at individuals for who they are. What are they bringing to the table? This is a level of ignorance that should have never been able to sit in the Congress. But somebody probably just wanted to get rid of somebody. This is very irresponsible. I think the Bahamas government need to call upon the U.S. and have this woman make an apology. The statement from the Coast Guard is all fine. We need an apology. Things like that is damning. Okay, obviously she said it to try and hurt and to scandal the name of the Bahamian people. It's unfair, it's not right, and it should be retracted. She said it publicly, it should be retracted publicly.
Well, I would say, Mr. Ferguson, Shanique Miller, good night to everyone once again. When you look at the waters of the Bahamas, it's extremely extensive. It's extremely difficult to actually manage and to monitor our waters. We have been having a history of people migrating from the south into North America. We've even had cases of people from as far as China coming through the Bahamas into America. This lady's making a statement. What we do need is we need proof. If we can have some proof that this is actually happening, then maybe this may merit assistance, a more serious level of assistance from the United States government in terms of our migration control. Mr. Ellington, could you imagine if America was really serious about immigration situations in the Bahamas, that we can actually begin to prevent people coming from the south into the Bahamas and into America? I think this may be just simply a situation where this may actually take place. And so we are waiting for the proof, and if this is so, we would then say, America, now that you're aware of this, we need assistance, we need help, let's make it a reality.
But Garth, based on the Coast Guard, there is no such thing that has happened, number one. Number two, we have good cooperation with the United States of America. The U.S. Coast Guards on a daily basis is patrolling our waters, and there have been many cases and instances where they have interdicted boats and turned them over to the Bahamian authorities, whether it's drug boats or illegal migration. And so it's no excuse for this, and this just needs to be retracted.
You want the proof now, is what you're
No, I
trying
don't
to
want the
tell me.
proof. It's already, the Coast Guard already said no such thing happened.
So you're denying that this actually could have happened?
Pardon me?
Are you denying that this could have actually happened?
Her words is that the Coast Guard interdicted them. The Coast Guard already stated that no such thing has happened. So therefore, she needs to say where she get it from. Because it's not the Coast Guard. She probably have her own Coast Guard. And she needs to be made to retract that statement.
So we need proof.
We don't need proof.
We don't need proof.
We need an apology.
We need, in this social media age where everybody is irresponsible and just babbling stupidness, to be responsible. When you have small island nations like the Bahamas that depend heavily on outside forces in terms of tourism, travel, all the rest of it, ma'am, you owe this nation an apology, and quite frankly, I just wish more could have been done.
And it's ignorant of you to do such a thing.
It's quite ignorant. Okay, y'all in the U.S. have real issues in your political system. Don't bring none of that here, because we got our own. Meanwhile, you all, officials are monitoring the status of two Bahamians studying in Qatar as tensions continue, same thing, to escalate between Iran and Israel following a recent bombing by the United States. Laurencia Smith has more on the status of those two Bahamians.
As far as we know, there are two Bahamians in Qatar now in Doha. They report that they're safe, and we've told them to just remain in place until further notice. And I noticed that some airlines have in fact canceled flights into that area until September.
Mitchell says his ministry is closely monitoring developments in the Middle East following Monday's missile attack by Iran targeting U.S. bases in that region. International media confirmed the missiles were intercepted by Qatar Air Defense System and no injuries were reported. Now, the minister also added that Bahamians scheduled to travel to that part of the world had their flights canceled as the tensions continue to escalate. The big question is now, what impact will this have on the Bahamas?
Operate in the normal, cautious fashion that they would. The world is obviously in a period of instability. This happens from time to time. So my suggestion is a country like us that's really on the periphery. It's unlikely that we'd be at the center of this.
Mitchell is also urging Bahamians traveling to the U.S. to take normal security precautions, particularly when visiting Washington, D.C. and other major cities.
To the U.S., and this would include students, that you should stay away from political demonstrations. Don't get involved in it. Make sure that you carry your papers with you at all times. And remain within the law.
And from the regional front, CARICOM's Council for Foreign and Community Relations says it's deeply distressed by the escalating violence and humanitarian crisis in Gaza, warning that tensions across the Middle East is now threatening global stability.
The view of our countries that the world suffers when there's war, and the war needs to be de-escalated, and the parties ought to step back from the breach. That's general advice, which we always give.
Now, well, like Ellington and Garth, I tell you, it's quite, I don't know, interesting. I imagine how they're feeling on pins and needles. Well, everybody, whether you're near or far, you can imagine being here in the Bahamas, and especially if you pay attention to social media. That's the thing about social media. You just looking up in the sky any minute to see something flying over on this end. But imagine those Bahamians there. Of course, Foreign Affairs, you see Minister Mitchell talk about it. They are obviously monitoring them and hopefully trying to give good advice as much as they can at this point. But do you suppose maybe it's in their best interest to stay put, or maybe try get closer to this part of the world?
Well, let me put it like this. We're not sure where this is going to go. We've heard other group, Hezbollah, said that they're watching the situation and they're not ruling out getting involved. You know who they're loyal to. I think unless you have to be in that region right now, in that area, I don't think you should stay really, because this could escalate overnight into something way beyond what we're seeing right now. And at that point, there's going to be no travel. There's going to be no airlift. Everything will be suspended immediately as it relates to travel and airlift. And so I think this is becoming very, very hostile. Iran is not standing down at this stage of the game. And America, both America and Israel, is going to do everything that they think possible necessary to disarm Iran of any capability of creating a nuclear bomb. Nuclear enrichment. So this is something that persons that are in that region, if you can leave right now, I heard the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I support what he said, but I would go further and ask you to please, if you don't have to be there, make your way back home in safety zone for right now.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better, but my prayers go out to the families and to those people who are there, those two Bahamian citizens that are there. A window of opportunity, if it does manage to just go ahead and just make itself available, I would ask the Bahamian government and anyone else who can assist to get them out of there as quickly as possible. But the minister's words to remain where you are at this particular time would probably be some safe suggestion that if you do now feel safe and as if you are going to avoid any catastrophe, just stay prayerful, keep us informed. But like I would say, Mr. Ferguson, Shanique Miller, any opportunity that we can get you home, I think that is merited, and we're praying for you continuously.
Meanwhile, gentlemen, as before we go on to continue our discussion, just from the police right now, one man has been shot and killed just this evening. Monitoring it right now. That happened in the Market Street area, and so the victim has succumbed at the scene. Meanwhile, gentlemen, continuing with this, we know that what this would potentially mean, meaning the Middle East conflict, and now the U.S. is involved, and there's just so much going on. It's really fluid. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper says the ripple effects of the escalating conflict in the Middle East may soon hit closer to home. In the wake of the attack, Cooper says what's unfolding adds to a growing threat of regional instability. He says it could signal the start of a time filled with global economic uncertainty.
That is true.
This is just the beginning, I believe, of
That is true. I thought about that.
a crisis, this phase of this crisis, and we don't know how it will continue to unfold, and therefore it creates uncertainty. When there is uncertainty, people tend to stay put. They stay at home, which is not good for tourism, not good for the economy. There is disruption in supply chain, again. Not a positive for the economy. There's a possibility of increase in oil prices. Again, we are a country that's very open, that grapples with the cost of living, not brought on by anything we do directly, but because we're so open, we just need to deal with it. We follow international protocols. We have a great national security team, National Intelligence Agency that collaborates with the international community, and they monitor trends, they look for risk, and they advise appropriately when necessary. We have been extremely fortunate in the Bahamas. We not have had any major incidences. We hope that this will continue.
I tell you, it's something, this is what no one wants to hear in terms of the fallout from this conflict. You all heard, and it's something that we are just kind of breathing a sigh of relief from, and even just hoping that the price of gas goes down even further. But now we are staring in the face of a potential price increase again. Your thoughts? Because it is a real possibility. In fact, maybe not even possibility. It's like, okay, when?
Absolutely, Shanique, and the Deputy Prime Minister is absolutely correct. And we're going to see some fallout of this. Iran has already taken some measures to stop some vessels passing through its waters, and we're going to see that more and more in the region. You heard China and Russia denouncing the United States. Russia is going to use this leverage to do more aggression on Ukraine, because now as far as Russia is concerned, you're doing this, so you can't say nothing to me. And so, yes, Bahamians need to really pay close attention to this, buckle down all unnecessary spending and splurging. I think you need to put a hold on those type of things, and let's be prepared for what's coming. This reminds me of the Gulf the war in the Gulf some years ago. Things can come to a halt quickly here. Global travel can be affected. As a matter of fact, I'm sure the hoteliers here will tell you now, we've already seen things slow down somewhat here already, and so we just need to tighten up our belts and hope for the best.
How about in the overall industry? Have you all begun seeing a slowdown?
Yes, we have. We have seen a slowdown in people traveling. People are already looking and kind of the uncertainty of what's going on globally. And so people are not moving like they you wanted to. Some bookings have been canceled. A lot of people are doing little short-term booking right now at the spur of the moment. And so, yes, well, I want to say to tourists, especially the majority of our tourists come from the Bahamas, is still the safest place outside of your mainland U.S., both Americans and Canadians. So you can still come on vacation.
Very well said, sir. Very well said.
Listen, gentlemen, I want to go to this other story before we go to our first break. This one, it's related. A sharp increase in oil prices following U.S. airstrikes on Iran. It has industry insiders here locally really on edge, and they are monitoring closely the exactly what that can mean. We all know exactly how we fought to have gas prices be where they are and every other related thing, because once the price of fuel goes up, then so goes the cost of living. Yes.
Cost of goods,
yeah.
All of that is
and inflation already is a situation here that, trying to grapple with and bring some sort of balance and stability to. So certainly this is something that we will continue to watch. Well, when we come back after the break, we're going to shift gears and train our eyes on politics. Right now, I'm talking right at this very moment, the PLP is in the middle of something called the Eastern Link. We'll talk about that right after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need. so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance management. Nobody does it better.
We're back! Playhouse and Sound Investment presents your Back to the 90s Volume 11, July 12th at Breezers. From Volume 1 to Volume 10, Playhouse brings to you the most anticipated Back to the 90s party at July 12th at Breezers. Party with some of your favorite Playhouse DJs, Big L, AI, Pressure, alongside Extra Large and DJ Tank with special guest DJs like Chinese. Hosted by yours truly, Joe Cools, and my brother, DJ Bravo. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Rock the night away with Reggie Shepard, performing live, Kimbo King, Modeling, and so much more. Early bird tickets are limited. Get yours today. Tickets available, cash and go, Tropics, On the Bay, and any of your favorite Playhouse DJs. For tables or Skybox, contacts 819-2900. Playhouse, Back to the 90s, sponsored by Sound Investment, Guinness, Hennessy, Paradise Games, Tropics on the Bay, Cash and Go, and Alive.
Win a brand new 2026 GAC MPOW every week for 5 weeks. Every 10 reward points earns you 1 digital entry. The more entries you gain, the better your chances to win. 5 weeks, 5 cars. Will you be one of our lucky winners? Catch the keys today, only at Island Luck. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so game responsibly.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, let's keep it moving this evening. The political wheels in motion tonight. The Progressive Liberal Party is hosting its first official campaign event since its launch of the 2026 election campaign on Labor Day. Prime Minister Davis is the keynote. He's joining representatives from the eastern constituencies at the Sir Charles Carter Park off Charles Saunders Highway. Jose Etienne is live at the Eastern Link event. Jose, good evening to you, and please tell us, what is the mood out there tonight?
Shanique, first of all, I'm going to do my best to compete with the music in the background, but this is a clear, obvious right as to what's happening here. The Sir Charles Carter Park is permeated. It's full with PLP supporters as they're celebrating and convening their first Eastern Link Up. This is being made up of members of parliament who are representing the constituencies here in the Eastern New Providence area. So, for example, you have members of parliament and their constituents from Fox Hill, from Seabreeze, from the Elizabeth Estates area, and from Yamacron. So that's Zane Lightburn, that's Jobeth Colby Davis, that's Leslie Miller, and that's Fred Mitchell, who's also the chairman of the PLP. And so, for the first time, the PLP is hosting its Eastern Link Up. So, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna get out the way. Let's see if we can show more of what's happening. You can see now individuals getting juiced up, getting amped up as celebrations are clearly underway. And so on the side of me is Member of Parliament for Series Leslie Miller. Leslie Bryce Miller. Moments ago, she just got off the podium addressing hundreds of PLP supporters here. Again, the Prime Minister, the party's leader, is also here as well. He's expected to headline this event. So far, we heard from Ms. Miller while she was on the podium giving a charge to PLP supporters. Ms. Miller, of course, we're trying to compete with the music here, right? Moments ago, you just gave a charge to PLP supporters. Let's talk about the drive behind your message.
If you have a problem with the PLP, go talk to that PLP. If you have a problem with leadership, your MP, your minister, go find them and talk to them. It's no need for us to air whatever our challenges is, whatever our differences is, out on social media. We need to do better. And I think after this charge tonight, PLPs will do better.
I heard you give a charge, in particular you admonish these individuals to abolish this flip-flop system that we've seen in politics where individuals vote governments out. There's a change in government every 5 years, so to speak. That's been the case in recent years. Why did you feel so compelled to say that?
Because we have work to do. We've started. The projects have started. The investments have started. Minister Glenys Hanna Martin, she's changing the environment of the schools. But we can't stop now. We have to keep going. And so I'm asking for PLPs and for the Bahamian public to give the PLP under the Philip Brave Davis administration another term.
Thank you, Madam MP. Again, you just heard from Member of Parliament for the Seabreeze area, Leslie Miller Bryce, who's giving a charge to PLP supporters to give this government, this Davis administration, a second chance. Now, Shanique, I'm standing by here. In a moment, we're expected to hear from the party's leader, Prime Minister Philip Davis. He's expected to headline this event. Of course, he's going to do so once the various members of Parliament who've convened here have spoken. Of course, we heard from Leslie Miller Bryce. She spoke already. Before her was the party's chairman, Fred Mitchell, who obviously represents the Fox Hill area. In a moment, we're going to hear from Elizabeth Estates Member of Parliament, Jobeth Colby Davis. She's the Minister of Energy. We're going to hear from Zane Lightburn, the Minister of State for the Environment, and the Member of Parliament for the Yamoussoukro area. And after they would have all spoken, we're going to hear from Prime Minister Philip Davis, who is expected, again, as we've said, to headline this event and wrap this up. This is happening, again, just days after the PLP launched its pre-election campaign on Labor Day. Days later, we're here for the Eastern Lake Up. And so this is all happening now. This is developing. We're going to have more on this as we continue to ground this area for the night. Sending it back to you, Shanique.
Thank you so much, Jose. Jose Etienne, live in the Eastern District of New Providence along Charles Saunders Highway with the Progressive Liberal Party in its first official campaign event. It's called the Eastern Link. You saw, of course, Seabreeze Member of Parliament, Leslie Miller Bryce, speaking with Jose there a moment ago. But gentlemen, I want to bring you both in. This sort of going from district to district and bringing a handful of constituencies and members of Parliament together and going about New Providence and then, of course, spreading that like throughout the nation really is something that both major parties in particular have taken to doing. I imagine it's putting feelers out there to see where the people are, where the temperature is, what the energy is, where the interest is.
Absolutely, Shanique. And I saw there, I drove past there a while ago. And the Progressive Liberal Party, like you say, is putting the feelers out there. They're going into these communities, they're engaging these communities, and there's a level of energy that is beginning to take shape within the Progressive Liberal Party. The Progressive Liberal Party is really putting the appeal out there and trying to engage the Bahamian people in their attempt for a second term. And they're really looking good. They're putting their message out there. I think the Free National Movement should have been out there, head up with them, but the PLP has got the lead on them now. They've got they're out of the gate, and they're really demonstrating that they're serious about continuing the work that they've started to do, and they're serious about asking the Bahamian people for a second term. It's really, really very, very impressive.
Well, if we truly understand the Bahamian citizenry in terms of the electorate, the Progressive Liberal Party has always been afforded an extremely large base of support. The Free National Movement has had the second largest base, very close, by the way. But we have known the trend in the past where disgruntled PLPs have voted with the Free National Movement in order to bring a victory to the Free National Movement. What the Free National Movement is now facing, Shanique Miller, is that there's now schism within its party, and then you have a growing coalition of independents coming out of nowhere who are stealing electorates. And so the FNM right now has found itself squeezed in the middle, and the PLP recognizes that. And so what the PLP is now doing is they're now strengthening themselves. They're calling the PLPs, the base people, to stay with the PLP. And those who were considering going over to any other entity, whether it's the COI or the Free National Movement, you now need to come home. We're going to prove it to you that whatever your issue is, according to Leslie Miller Bryce, we're going to prove it to you. We're going to repair our relationships. We're going to go to work. We're going to ensure that we can secure a victory for the next upcoming election. This is now the fourth year going into the election. I said it to you all before. If the Progressive Liberal Party gets out of the gate first after 4 years and you have not yet responded, you have not yet properly challenged them, you are in trouble. And tonight, trouble has officially begun.
What do you all make of Leslie's? She obviously just spoke. Jose pulled her from the moment just when she stepped off the stage, and she's like, listen, if there's an issue, we know political organizations have issues all the time. It's not synonymous with one group over the next. It's all of them.
Absolutely.
But if you have an issue, number one, keep it in-house and go seek out the individual you need to speak with. What do you all thought of that?
I think that is very good that they made that appeal publicly to their supporters. There has been some issues from Progressive Liberal Party supporters, but rather than allowing it to fester and to begin to get out into the public without addressing it, but now the people are hearing from the members of parliament, they're hearing from their government that, hey, come, let's talk, let's sit down, what it is, what you're dealing with, what's your issues. And so that supporters are hearing this now is giving them some hope that maybe now let me go and see what's happening. Let me go and see if I can work this out. I think that is a very good message sending out to their supporters, and it tells you what the Progressive Liberal Party is now doing. The Progressive Liberal Party is calling for all hands on deck. They're harnessing the power of their people, and they're getting ready for battle, and they're getting ready to take a second term. Obviously, it appears that they're not going to be as challenged by the opposite side as they should have been.
You make me smile tonight, Mr. Ferguson. You know, the truth be told is that we're not just seeing a Progressive Liberal Party that wants to win the next general election. What we're seeing is a plea from individual candidates, I guess we say members of Parliament, who want to return to the House of Assembly.
Incumbents.
And so this appeal is now happening where you allow yourself, who are weak, to actually partner with those that are stronger. And so we see the weaker and the stronger now bridging a relationship to say, you know what, we all deserve another opportunity. So the feeling out that Ms. Ellington is talking about, Shanique, which you're referring to, is just very simple. The PLP is now going to now vet all of their candidates based on the performance of these rallies. So you know what, Shanique Miller, you can run again because you know what, we got your back. And that's what this is all about.
And Shanique, if I may, what you're going to hear tonight coming from both Elizabeth whenever she speak, and also the Prime Minister, is going to be a common thread in relation to what Leslie just said. It's about mobilizing the troop. It's about now oiling the wheels as this train get ready to roll. They're oiling all the wheels to make sure that this is a ready machine, ready for battle ready.
And then guess what? Guess where this one actually takes place, Ellington? It's on Charles Carter's Park. It's Seabreeze Lane, right there for Golf Course, and Charles Saunders Highway. Do you know what vicinity or which constituency is next door?
Nassau Village.
Pinewood.
Pinewood.
Where the leader of the COI intends to run. They're challenging Pinewood now. They're going to get Pinewood out of the way, and then they're going to go after Marco City. Trust me on this. The PLP means business.
Okay,
What
strategist, I will watch out for you. But listen, gentlemen, listen to me. They ain't just pundits here on this show. They also strategists. They think they can call it, and they've hit one or two things right on. So you know this the season to. But listen, gentlemen, this here. South and Central Eleuthera F&M nomination issues. That's kind of rearing its head. Hopeful and perhaps front-runner Philippa Kelly was seen today. You all have seen the video. It went viral. A video objecting to a poll to determine who the F&M's candidate in the South and Central Eleuthera constituency will be. She's seen and heard saying she nor her supporters were aware of the vote. Well, we're going to find out exactly what happened. Joining me this evening is Marvin Gibson in South Eleuthera. Good evening to you, Marvin. It's wonderful having you here. Of course, you've seen that stream and that live stream. You yourself run something in Eleuthera. In fact, it's beyond Eleuthera, but TMI. So you certainly are ahead of that. And so therefore, you are seen almost as one of the voices of Eleuthera and what happens. And so you are well aware of what took place and you are well aware of what happened. What is the story?
Shanique, good evening to you. Good evening to your guests. Hey, Garth, good to see you. Good evening, Bahamas. So a lot is taking place in Eleuthera with respect to the F&Ms and what they're going through. We saw this poll that took place. I think everybody was sort of surprised when they heard about it, when they saw it, because it popped up in some of the WhatsApp groups. I was fortunate enough today to be able to speak with the chairman, Ricardo Dean, of the Free National Movement Central and South Eleuthera Association. And he explained to me that Dwayne Sands, the national chairman of the party, had called on him and all of the chairmen to conduct a poll among the party supporters and to provide a name to them. And so that was how this poll was conducted. Now, I did speak with Philippa. I did speak with Mr. Hunt, who's an aspirant. I also spoke with Cassius Stewart. All of them said they did not know anything about this poll taking place.
So then it was meant. So then, Marvin, it appears as though it was meant to happen without any of their knowledge, and regardless of the amount of people, just that the majority in whichever groups they were made that decision. Then
that's what it would have what it would appear to be like. And mind you, of course, they tried to. It was being conveyed that this was a decision that was perpetrated by Ricardo because they feel like Ricardo was supporting Cassius. But Ricardo explained to me today, no. They were called on short notice on Monday of last week to have this decision in by Friday of last week. And he said on Tuesday, their executive board met, they agreed to conduct a poll in the WhatsApp group, and that is what they did. And as it relates to bringing forward this result for the elections. Cassius got 11 votes in that little poll. Philippa got 7 votes in that poll. Hank Johnson got 4 votes in that poll. So only 22 persons voted out of 70 persons in the entire group. Because of course it wasn't a secret ballot. And so people were going to be exposed, and so they did not want to go through
so
that.
70,
now, here's the thing.
So Marvin, 1 second though. 70 I see why maybe Philippa and Hunt and even Stewart himself maybe objected, because if it's 70 people, if it's 70 people in these groups, in the WhatsApp groups, and only how many did that total, by the way, that you mentioned? 22 people voted. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is that what made them vex, especially her with that video that went viral?
I think one of the things that made them upset is that they feel that their supporters were not made aware of this entire process. Imagine that it's actually in the group. 70 persons are in the group, and only 22 persons voted. Wow. And a bunch of persons outside the group knew nothing about it until they saw the poll, saw the results of the poll.
Right. So now what happened? So what happened? Because it's also being said 1 or 2 may have been notified, but then that may have been rescinded.
Listen, there's Shanique, let me tell you what's going on. I spoke to Ricardo on this. Ricardo told me he's gotten it from a reliable source that Philippa Kelly has gotten this nomination. And
how can you come on live TV on a Monday night and say that?
He was not the only person who told it to me. This is the second time I've heard it. I got it. I spoke to Cassius Stewart today. Cassius Stewart is no longer in the running from 2 weeks ago. I found now, I'm putting some things together because I'm assuming that he was no longer in the running from 2 weeks ago because they realized from 2 weeks ago that Philippa had gotten the nomination. I'm told that flyers have already been put together, and on Thursday when they have this F&M council meeting in Nassau, Philippa will be ratified as the F&M candidate for South and Central Eleuthera. This is the information that I'm hearing. Now, that's going to be interesting. Now, I have nothing against Cassius. I have nothing against William Hunt. Philippa will be bringing something new to the table in that she will be the first female nominee of any political party for Central and South Eleuthera.
Oh, they've never had a female?
No, they've never had a female.
Okay.
So that will be unique.
Okay.
And so there'll be some others. But now, of course, the candidates committee disputes this because remember, the candidates committee interviewed me on Saturday.
Yes.
They interviewed me on Saturday with this process where they were vetting all the candidates.
Why were you interviewed? Why were you interviewed?
I was interviewed because they're still, according to them, no candidates have been chosen. This is what the candidates committee, the representative of the candidates.
So Marvin, wait a minute. And I know I spoke to you earlier requesting some sort of clarification, just to get an idea of what's happening. You were saying you had your hat in the ring as well?
No, I didn't have my hat in the ring.
Okay.
But they were interviewing me, vetting the candidates who are running.
Okay, you were helping them vet the candidates, yes, okay.
Yes, yeah. So they named 4 candidates to me. Well, actually 5 persons were named to me. The 4 persons who they named as the aspirants were Philippa Kelly, Cassius Stewart, William Hunt, Hank Johnson, and then they also, I guess, had a mention of Theo Neely. Right? So I gave my views with respect to all of the candidates. Mm-hmm. And then they gave me this little addendum. They said, Marvin, because they know who I am, they know this is TMI, they said, I don't care what you've heard, the party has not selected any candidates for the election. No one has been selected. That is what they told me. Right? Now, on the other side of that coin, it is being spread all over the place, even by party insiders, that Philippa Kelly has gotten a nomination. She is not admitting it because she is sworn to secrecy until Thursday when she's officially ratified. The party is bringing forward 15 candidates. They're going to be revealing 15 candidates, I understand, on Thursday, including Central and South Eleuthera and North Eleuthera with Ricky Mackey.
Oh, Ricky Mackey's getting the nomination for North Eleuthera.
Ricky Mackey said his family has already given him approval for if he decides to run, if the party nominates him, that he can run. And I understand he's getting the nod.
Listen to me. Listen, you all are saying, you were saying a lot. You were saying a lot. Of course, Marvin, keep us informed. That's as much as I'll say. Marvin Gibson from TMI talking about that viral. Who leaked the video, by the way? Who leaked the video of how upset Philippa was?
Was it you, Marvin?
That's a very good question. I think that is being deliberately kept a secret. The thing is, they just wanted us to know that there were some issues that needed to be addressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Marvin Gibson there in South Eleuthera live this evening talking about a poll that may have taken place and involved just a handful of people, and others were left scratching their head like what, when, and how. I thank you very much, Marvin. When we come back, we will hear opinions on that. And then something that is stunning still that happened in MyCal. This happened on Saturday afternoon. You all will never guess this one. Beyond the Headlines is backward after this.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
My name is Omar Ferguson. I've been disabled now from 2009. What inspired me to start my own business? It was the determination to know that I still had something left in me, even though a lot of my independence, my mobility was being restricted. In my disability, it's kind of hard finding the investors or the capital. For example, national insurance. The benefit that we receive, it's a lifeline. And in any business that you're going to take, it's going to be a risk. We're not looking for handouts, but we want you to understand that we still need a little special care. This literally gives us a backbone that, hey, we could actually stand someday. The business, I know, it's going to be a risk. Even going through that process, I'm still dependent on national insurance. Overall, being in the program itself, it's put me in a place where I feel young again. I feel like anything is possible. I would say to others with disabilities, look around your community, just like you guys said in one of the modules. See what is needed in your community and go for it. Don't be afraid, just go for it.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
So you want a space, but not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience, with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Of course, before the break, we had Marvin Gibson from South Eleuthera join us to talk about that viral voice note and video that went out with one of the hopefuls. He said she is the nominee. We ain't saying that. The Beyond the Headlines is not saying that. She is one of perhaps the front runners, but certainly one of the hopefuls for the Free National Movement in the Central and South Eleuthera constituency in Eleuthera. Philippa Kelly, and it just went all over today of her being quite upset of a poll that was taken. And so, of course, you heard him respond to that and sort of just put some perspective on there. Gentlemen, your thoughts on what Philippa had to say today, and then to hear Marvin this evening.
I listened, Shanique, to the video earlier today. And what Marvin had to say, and you put everything together, it's a very sloppy process. It's very messy. And again, here's another example of whatever's going on. I know the chairman is responsible for these things, but obviously it's not well put together. It's not disorganized. It's not transparent. As a matter of fact, it is showing that skullduggery of some sort is taking place, and the members is not happy about it. What you're doing, you're dividing and disenfranchising your people.
Skullduggery? Yeah. Isn't it just maybe wanting to hurry get the process done with so that they
can
catch
saying this is what we're going to do.
Catch up?
Don't fool people, don't sham people, and keep others locked out. Let the grouping know, listen, we got to speed up this process. This is what we're going to do and move forward with it. Rather than all of these on-the-hand workings. It doesn't look good. It doesn't bode well for the party. You're going to create division. People are going to stay home. People are going to go and do something else rather than supporting the party. That is not what the Free National Movement need at this juncture of the game.
Well, that situation reminded me of something that happened in 2021 where we had the uniting of the third parties. And there was a discussion about the United Coalition movement, if you can recall, where Cassius Stewart emerged as the leader. Ali McIntosh was the deputy leader. And Mr. Adrian Francis, he was actually the chairman. And we had this meeting at a church off of Abundant Life Road, right in the back there. And I recall that very well. The similar situation in terms of polling took place where Cassius Stewart was actually able to overcome a Lincoln Bain who had the church full of people in black and white. I mean, the numbers were huge, Nick Miller. And Cassius, of course, he didn't have anybody. And Cassius came out as the victor, which was amazing to me. They blamed me for the skullduggery somewhat, and then they recognized that, God could not have done this. And I just sat back and I smiled. And so when I heard this again, this seems to me like a Cassius Stewart stunt that happened previously in 2021. As for Ms. Philippa,
wait.
I got to put it there because I was there.
Did you hear Marvin say none of the hopefuls knew anything about it?
This is what I'm saying to you. And a similar situation happened in 2021. Cassius Stewart emerged as the leader miraculously and victoriously. And of course, Lincoln Bain and his followers were extremely upset because it was supposed to have been the uniting of all of the third parties, of which I too was the leader of the People's National Coalition. And I stood down to allow the process to take place. I am not going to fool with that again. I'm not running with any third party. I'm done with that. But of course, what you've done in the past will come back to bite you presently. And so, Cassius Stewart, I can believe that you were knowledgeable about that because you were knowledgeable about the first one. And Philippa Kelly, as for her, she's been working hard as a female. She's done miraculous work down there in South and Central Eleuthera. And I do believe this is why Clay's Feelings, he took his game to a higher level. And the South Eleuthera, Central Eleuthera race is going to be something to watch, especially if she's involved.
Absolutely.
Well, gentlemen, I'll tell you this. In Michael, in fact, Garth, you brought this to my attention. It was a live stream happening in Mayaguana.
Saturday morning.
Saturday afternoon, or late morning. And I was like, what are they saying? Who is this person? What's happening? And so afterward I went and I did my investigation. I spoke with key people in Mayaguana. I'm like, who is this individual? What is the meeting about? Because they had it labeled, but I needed to make sure that I read right. So before I go any further, take a look at this. Justin, I don't care how many seconds you play it. Just show the people and then we'll come back.
They don't come from north to south, they go south to north. So I was having this bet, and I had the fellas each bet $100. The storm was coming from the north. So I called Director Bass and I said, hey, Director, what about this storm? Because we had made a U-turn. And so before I could leave, all the fellas had me pay up this bet. Well, about maybe 3 or 4 hours later, those who remember Joaquin, I was there, like everyone else, up in the attic, breaking through the attic. My rental car was underwater, and I wanted to do something to give weather to the southern islands, because for too long, you're out in the boondocks, no one really cares, etc., etc. Well, that's a problem because there are no buoys, there are no radars, there are no equipment in order to be able to detect weather, and even the plane coming down here, there was a couple of squalls we had to come around, but they're on their own.
Is, and I'll tell you, well, a part of what he's talking about, that, ladies and gentlemen, reportedly, allegedly, and everything otherly, but I spoke with people in Mayaguana, they confirmed it, and I spoke with others as well, is Robert Karen. You know, he's from a media empire of a family. He's from also one of the, I guess, I don't know, one of the pillars of Bahamian society.
UBP family.
Just one of those key people. And he now heads, I would figure, a media empire. But that was him at the weekend in Maikal. He has investments there. He's talking to them about improving and enhancing the weather services. I understand this is what he's doing nationally in order for us to better be able to predict and storms and watch them, and just a whole lot of stuff going on. But it is my understanding that he was also there in Mayaguana and headed to Inagua after to say, hey, how about you give me a chance? How about you put your trust in Robert Karen, in the next general election? On which ticket? You are ready to guess? Yeah, like seriously, anybody who gets it, Garth will buy you dinner. For the Progressive Liberal Party, the PLP. And I spoke with, I'm not guessing this now. If they lie, I'll come back and I will recant. And yes, let me tell you, he is seeking a nomination on the PLP ticket. He went there to make his case. I understand that he went to Inagua after this, but it's not the first time he's been there because he already has investments on the ground. Right. It's stuff that he's already doing. He just wanted them to be aware as he continues to move forward, but to seek the nomination for the PLP. You all, what does that say?
What it says is a lot. He has family history in the Mayaguana, Maikal area. If you do recall, Mayaguana, we are strongly UBP centric. There in Mayaguana, we're looking for an opportunity. We've had the PLP and the FM come down there with many promises, but here's someone who is there now, who is actually investing now, who are making miracles happen now. And I can tell you right now off the bat, the Mayaguana people, they're going to give him some attention. As a matter of fact, if they gave him the nomination, I could almost assure you, Shanique just spoke with buying you dinner. I'll buy you dinner if he runs down there and loses, because more than likely, he is going to win. They're going to be impressed with him, what he's bringing to the table. And the family that he's from, a long history of people that have involved themselves in this country. As a matter of fact, every household in this country has been probably touched in terms of your generations. We've all been a part of their media company. We've all read their articles. And it's amazing to me, Shanique Miller, where he's coming from and where he's now heading. That sort of tells me that right now, the Progressive Liberal Party has serious momentum, a serious magnetic pull. And I said it before, Shanique Miller, on this show, if you allow the Progressive Liberal Party to get on the gate, even these people who have prominence, what do you call old money? They're looking at the PLP. F&M, you are now in trouble. I told you, you are in trouble. And to the supporters of the F&M, I've been trying to help you. I've been trying to warn you. I've been trying to encourage you. You're not listening. I know you may hate me. You may not like what we say. But guess what? Election day, you'll see that everything we've said here has been nailed on.
Let me say this. My people, my family, Acklands and Crooked Island and the wider Michael, Megwana, Inagua, Long Key, we need difference. We need change. We need real representation. Mr. Karen, come to me, let's talk. This is very, very interesting.
Very interesting.
That a person as him,
his stature,
is number one, stepping up to the plate for the Southern Bahamas, which has, in my opinion, been neglected. They've always basically been a number. I think the representative, Mr. V. Alfred Gray, was the one who kind of fight more harder for them. But to see someone like him stepping up to the plate and to see the ticket that he is seeking to go under, it speaks volume of what is taking place in the country today. It speaks volume of the forward movement where the country is headed. And I think, I know of him, I think he would do good for that area. And he's a go-getter. He's a man who can make things happen. And for Michael, if this is to be, once they approach the party leadership and they get the nod, then let's do it. Let's do it for Michael. This is Michael time.
I give him a thumbs up, Mr. Ferguson. I give him a thumbs up.
Absolutely.
The airport is there now, Shanique. The investment of a marina with Edison Taylor those is coming. My family has acreage there. The people are excited right now that something's actually happening. I've had cousins sit in that meeting. Of course, everyone there is my cousin.
No, I heard the meeting was well attended.
But very well attended and very well interested. And when I spoke to my cousin, Shanique, you know what he said to me? Man, this looks like a winner. So we're looking forward to the results of this. And
let me know when you go on Acklands and Crooked Island. I'm on the plane with you.
Listen, I tell you, quite interesting, and we will obviously follow that up and continue to monitor all what's happening on the political landscape, certainly, of course, on every political organization, not just one. But that was really the biggest news coming out of this weekend.
I'm surprised. I was surprised.
Yeah.
That was a shock.
Yeah,
Michael for the win.
Yes, absolutely. And so when we saw that, again, I spoke with Michael, I spoke with other officials, and I'm like, what is this? Is this a thing?
It's our time.
And so I decided to bring it to you this evening. Listen, I thank you all so much. Of course, Ellington Ferguson, Garth Rosborough, Jose Etienne, Marvin Gibson that joined me as well on tonight's show, and all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I certainly enjoyed having you along, and I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.